Cristiano Ronaldo played the 2026 World Cup at 41 years old. That tournament is done now, and the question everyone wants answered is how a body that's absorbed 2 decades of professional football still moved like that on the sport's biggest stage. The answer isn't one trick. It's a system: sleep, food, recovery tools, and a training method that kept adjusting as his body did. That system is exactly why a 41-year-old forward walked into North America wearing the captain's armband for Portugal and walked out with his name still in the conversation for records nobody else has touched. So let's break down how Ronaldo protected his body at 41, piece by piece, starting with the number that made even him do a double take. Here's where this story really starts. Earlier in his 40s, Ronaldo sat down with wearable tech company Whoop and got his body scanned. Heart rate variability, sleep data, recovery scores, all of it. The result came back, and even he didn't believe it at first. His physiological age wasn't 40. It was 28.9 years, according to what he reportedly told Whoop founder Will Ahmed after learning he's biologically more than 11 years younger than his birth certificate says. He didn't hide his reaction. He joked that it meant he'd be playing football for another decade. Think about that for a second. A guy who made his professional debut in the early 2000s, still lining up against opponents young enough to be his kids, walking around with a body that clocks in over a decade younger on paper. Not marketing spin. Actual biometric data pulled from a device that's supposed to be one of the most accurate heart rate and recovery trackers out there. Whoop claims over 99% accuracy for heart rate and heart rate variability tracking. So what's behind that number? 2 markers stand out. First, his resting heart rate, reportedly 44 beats per minute. An average adult male sits somewhere between 60 and 100 at rest. His heart's doing less work just to keep him alive, which usually points to a cardiovascular system built over years of endurance training. Second, heart rate variability, or HRV. That's the gap in time between each heartbeat, and it's one of the clearest windows into how well a nervous system handles stress. A choppy, inconsistent HRV usually signals a body that's run down or overtrained. Ronaldo's data shows the opposite: a consistently high HRV, suggesting a system that's adaptable and resilient rather than worn out. This isn't just a wearable gimmick either. There's real science tying this number to lifespan. A 2023 study published in Aging found a strong correlation between higher HRV and longer life expectancy. So when people say his body doesn't age like everyone else's, this is the data underneath that claim. Not just abs on a magazine cover, but a nervous system still behaving like it belongs to someone half his age. The reaction outside his own camp was just as loud. A Saudi academic went on state TV and called him a walking case study. Al Ahmadi said Ronaldo isn't just an athlete, he's a case study. Someone whose biological age sits in his 20s while his chronological age keeps climbing. He pointed to the body composition numbers too. Roughly 50% muscle mass and just 7% body fat. 7% at 41. Most men in their 40s who consider themselves in shape sit between 15 and 20%. That number belongs in a bodybuilding competition, not a locker room for guys pushing middle age. And it's not a one-off flex. It's been tracked over time: sub 7% body fat during the season, a vertical jump north of 78 centimeters, sprint speed that stays elite, and a work rate in matches that consistently ranks among the highest in the sport. That vertical jump deserves its own pause. 78 centimeters is close to 31 inches. NBA players, guys whose entire sport is built around jumping, average lower than that. A soccer player in his 40s out-jumping men who dunk basketballs for a living. Whoop themselves weighed in on what all this actually means. The company said his body is optimized for sleep, recovery, performance, and longevity, and that his metabolic control is fueling muscle while stabilizing energy. Ronaldo's own response was blunt: the data doesn't lie. So the real question was never whether his body was doing something unusual for his age. The numbers settle that. The real question is what he's actually doing, day after day, to keep those numbers where they are. Because a resting heart rate of 44 and body fat at 7% don't happen by accident. They happen because of a system, And that system starts with how he sleeps. If there's one non-negotiable in Ronaldo's world, it's sleep. He's said it plainly in interview after interview. Sleep is his most essential tool. Not diet, not the gym, sleep. Here's where it gets interesting though. He hasn't slept like a normal person for years. Most of us aim for one long block at night and call it done. Ronaldo, for a long stretch of his career, followed something closer to a polyphasic schedule. Multiple shorter sleep cycles spread across the day instead of one giant chunk at night, designed by sleep coach Nick Littlehales. He's described it himself: 5 sleep cycles a day, 90 minutes each, timed so his body gets a reset right before and right after training sessions, rather than dumping all his recovery into one distant overnight window. Add it up and you're looking at roughly 7.5 hours total, just spread across the day instead of stacked in one place. More recent reporting suggests the schedule shifted as he got older, leaning toward a more consolidated overnight sleep with a consistent bedtime, down around 11 p.m. or midnight, up around 8:30 or 8:45 a.m. Whichever version he's running in a given season, the target barely moves, roughly 7.25 hours, and if a match or event eats into that, he just wakes up later to make up the difference. The man behind a lot of this thinking is Littlehales, who's worked with elite athletes across multiple sports for years, building sleep plans around natural 90-minute cycles instead of forcing everyone into the same 8-hour block. The idea is that quality and timing matter more than raw hours, matching rest to how the body actually moves through sleep stages instead of treating sleep like one uninterrupted marathon. Why does this matter so much for a body pushing 41? Because sleep isn't passive, it's when the repair work happens. Growth hormone release, tissue repair, inflammation control, all of it clusters around those sleep windows. Rest is also when the body clears out metabolic waste and rebuilds muscle, which is exactly the kind of maintenance a 41-year-old frame needs more of, not less. He treats the hours before sleep with the same discipline as the sleep itself. No late-night scrolling, no stimulants, a light meal, consistent hydration, a consistent environment. Even dinner timing gets engineered around it. He eats early enough that digestion doesn't compete with overnight recovery, and on heavier nights, he'll swap a full meal for something simple, like soup, just to keep digestion out of the way. Those close to him say this discipline doesn't waver even when the schedule gets chaotic. No screens at night, constant hydration, even during odd hours around travel and matches. Laid out like that, it almost sounds boring. Go to bed, wake up, keep it consistent. But that consistency, repeated across more than 2 decades, across 4 countries and 5 clubs, is exactly the unglamorous habit that separates a 5-year career from a career that was still starting World Cup matches at 41. Sleep bought him the recovery, but recovery alone isn't enough. It needs fuel. That's where the plate comes in. Ronaldo's diet gets less attention than his abs, but it might matter just as much. And the theme running through all of it is sameness. Not variety, not indulgence, repetition, precision, control. He runs on multiple small meals instead of the traditional 3-a-day most people grew up with. Somewhere in the range of 5 to 6 meals, spaced every 3 to 4 hours, keeping his energy steady rather than letting it spike and crash. His former personal chef put the philosophy in blunt terms. Giorgio Barone told Gulf News that footballers eat really simple things, but well and healthy. Not elaborate, not chef-driven showpieces. Simple, clean, repeated. What's actually on the plate? Fish, constantly. Swordfish, sea bass, gilt-head bream, tuna, cod, rotating through the week. Alongside that, lean meats, eggs, fruit, vegetables, and whole grain carbs, with black or red rice standing in for the white rice, pasta, or bread. Most people default to. He allows himself one dish tied to home: bacalhau à brás, codfish and egg and thin fries mixed together, a nod to his Portuguese roots. Even a diet this locked down leaves room for where he came from. What he avoids is just as deliberate as what he eats. Processed food, refined sugar, frozen meals, off the table. High-fat cooking methods get cut too, and fried food doesn't make the list at all. Inflammatory foods get the same treatment, cut for the sake of recovery rather than just weight. Even his calorie intake is dialed in rather than guessed at, somewhere between 3,000 and 3,200 a day, depending on training load. Not a huge number for someone burning through double sessions, but a controlled one, built to match output instead of overshooting it. Alcohol and smoking simply aren't part of the picture, and he's reportedly just as strict with his kids, telling his son not to drink soda because it's unhealthy. Hydration functions almost like its own pillar rather than an afterthought. Water through the day. Electrolyte drinks around the hardest sessions. In his own words, the philosophy is straightforward. A good workout has to be matched with a good diet, high protein, lots of whole grain carbs, fruit and vegetables, and staying away from sugary foods. None of this is exotic science. There's no secret ingredient. It's the same clean choices, repeated at the same times for over 20 years, which turns out to be exactly the kind of boring that keeps a body running at 41. But food and sleep only get you so far. The other half of the equation is what happens after the whistle blows. The recovery tools that turn soreness back into readiness. This is the part of the routine that's changed the most as he's aged. In his 20s, recovery came without much effort. By his 40s, it became an operation of its own, just as important to the job as the training itself. The tools read like a checklist pulled from a sports science lab. Cold exposure sits near the top ice baths and cryotherapy to cut down on muscle soreness, alongside multiple short naps that he treats as seriously as the actual training. Mobility work runs alongside it. Stretching, yoga-style flexibility sessions, all aimed at keeping his joints loose enough to keep producing explosive movement. Massage guns, physiotherapy, sauna time, all part of the same toolkit, used almost daily instead of saved for emergencies. On match days and heavy training days, cryotherapy and physiotherapy get folded directly into the schedule. He's also leaned into personalized supplementation, working with health tracking brands like Bionique alongside his sleep science and recovery tech. Outrunning the aging process isn't a throwaway phrase for him. It's what this entire stretch of his career became about. He wasn't chasing bigger numbers in the gym anymore. He was chasing time. That shift shows up directly in how his strength training got rebuilt. Instead of maxing out on personal bests, the goal narrowed to something more surgical. Hold onto the muscle and power he already had, enough to keep supporting explosive movement on the pitch. His training week reflects the same recalibration, more emphasis on injury prevention, mobility, and recovery than in his 20s, even while the core structure stayed intense. Leg day stopped being about loading a barbell for max reps. It shifted toward explosive power and single-leg stability, because sprinting, cutting, and jumping in a match are almost entirely one-leg movements. Even his aerobic base got rebuilt around what football specifically demands rather than generic endurance. Running, rowing, and treadmill work forming the foundation, paired with structured strength training. Conditioning stayed short and sharp instead of long and steady, mirroring what actually happens across 90 minutes. Repeated bursts over 10 to 40 meters, the distances that actually show up in a game. None of this happened in isolation from real setbacks either. And that's where the system actually got tested. Earlier in the year, during a Saudi Pro League match, Ronaldo went down with what looked like a hamstring strain and had to limp off. Initial assessments called it muscular fatigue, but further scans told a different story. A more serious strain than first thought. Serious enough that Al Nassr coach Jorge Jesus said it publicly. That's exactly the moment the recovery machine got put to work. Rather than riding it out at the club, he flew out for specialized treatment, beginning a tailored rehab program that included time in Madrid. Reports at the time flagged the risk plainly. This is what happens when a body pushing 41 takes a real physical hit. Weeks later, the same machine delivered him back. He returned fully available for both club and country, and his place in the Portugal squad was never seriously in doubt. He was back scoring within days of being cleared. The clearest real-world proof this system exists for a reason. Not just to keep him lean for cameras, but to get a 41-year-old body back on a pitch after actual soft tissue damage on a normal timeline without lingering effects. All of it, the ice, the mobility work, the supplements, the reshaped training, existed to answer one question: could a body this old still absorb the punishment of professional football and come back from it? Through the injury? Through the doubts? The answer kept being yes. Which brings us to the stage all of it was actually protecting him for. Every piece of this system, the sleep cycles, the fish and rice, the cold plunges, the rebuilt leg day, existed for one specific stretch of time: the 2026 World Cup across the United States, Canada, and Mexico, with Ronaldo lining up as Portugal's captain at 41. He'd been open about what that tournament meant to him going in, calling it his last major international tournament, telling CNN there was no scenario where he'd chase a seventh. This one was it, and now it's behind him. The stakes attached to that run were enormous. He went in sitting close to 954 career goals, within reach of a number no player in the sport's history has ever touched: 1,000. He and Lionel Messi also became the only two players in soccer history to appear at the sport's biggest tournament 6 times, a piece of history neither of them shares with anyone else. It wasn't a clean run. Portugal opened with a draw against the Democratic Republic of Congo, and the conversation around Ronaldo's body turned sharp almost immediately. He'd gone 10 major tournament matches without a goal heading into that game, and the doubts about whether a 41-year-old could still lead Portugal on the sport's biggest stage got loud fast. That's the exact moment every recovery session, every early bedtime, every cold plunge either pays off or it doesn't. Less than a day after that scrutiny peaked, he answered it, an overhead bicycle kick that had Whoop publicly marveling at what his body had just done, saying he performed like he was 12 years younger than the number on his passport. That moment is the whole story compressed into one image: doubt, criticism, a body that's supposed to have slowed down by now, and then a mid-air strike that only makes sense if everything underneath it, the sleep, the diet, the cold water, the rebuilt training, actually worked exactly as designed. The tournament has since run its course. Whatever the final result was for Portugal, whatever round they went out in, or how far they went, Ronaldo's part in it is done. His 6th World Cup played out at an age no outfield player his profile has managed before, on a hamstring that had betrayed him just months earlier. Whether he chases the 1,000th goal somewhere else, at club level, is now a separate question from this tournament entirely. Ronaldo himself has talked about what this stretch of his career actually feels like from the inside. He said that when you're young, you think you'll live forever, that you're unbreakable, and that 30 doesn't feel like 25, especially in football. The margins get thinner. He knows it better than anyone, which is exactly why the system never got to take a day off. And here's the part that doesn't get talked about enough. The routine didn't stop when the final whistle of his last World Cup match blew. The bedtime stays the same. The fish and rice keep getting served. The ice baths keep happening after every session, tournament or no tournament. This was never a system he switched on for one big event. It's the same system that kept him on pitches for over 20 years, and it just finished doing its hardest job yet, carrying a 41-year-old body through the biggest stage in the sport. One last time. Sources: the health site, What's Behind Cristiano Ronaldo's Sculpted Abs at 41? The Mirror, Ronaldo's transformation to make World Cup history at 41. Men's Fitness, Cristiano Ronaldo at 41. The secrets behind his physique. beIN Sports, the secret behind his longevity. Based Health, Cristiano Ronaldo workout routine, diet plan. Hello Magazine, Ronaldo's non-negotiable health regime rules, Routines One Club. Cristiano Ronaldo's workout routine, 2026, Routines.club. Cristiano Ronaldo's daily routine, 2026. CESI, Cristiano Ronaldo reveals stunning biological age. The Titans Football Academy, Cristiano Ronaldo Diet Guide. WeGo Travel Blog, Ronaldo's diet, workout and sleep. Osners FC, Cristiano Ronaldo's fitness secrets. Sports Big News, full day routine. Routines.club. Cristiano Ronaldo diet, 2026. Daily Beirut biological age at 28.9 defies his 40 years. Sportingpedia biological age is 29, not 40. Inside World Soccer. Whoop, collaboration. Mimicida, can Whoop help you turn back time? Gulf News, Saudi academic calling for scientific study. EasyYep Substack. Ronaldo's Whoop data. Goal, Ronaldo suggests he could play another 10 years. IB times AU major injury update. IB times AU hamstring injury recovery raises questions. IB times AU on track for 2026 World Cup after hamstring injury setback. IB times AU superstar fully recovers. BN Sports, injury more serious than expected as concerns grow months before the 2026 World Cup. Facta fully recovers from hamstring injury, scores brace. 26-3-6. Facta fully recovers from hamstring injury. Scores brace. https://www.facta.co. Cristiano Ronaldo recovers injury scores.